Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Today, we're going to talk about UV, the lightning fast project management tool from Astral. Let's dive in. So, what is UV and why do we need it? UV is a new Python project manager. It's built on Rust and made by Astral, who are the same folks behind the fastest Python linter called Rough. UV prides itself not only being the fastest Python project manager, but also because it combines so many functionalities that used to exist on their other tools like pip, pyenv, virtual env, and the pip-tools. So let's give some examples. With version management, UV is able to perform that using the command uv python install. So I'll leave these commands on the screen for you to take a look. Virtual environments, well, with UV, they're really simple. We can create a virtual environment using uv venv, or we can also specify the name of the virtual environment that we're trying to create. We can also specify the Python version that we want inside the virtual environment. So if we want to use Python 3.12 instead of 3.11, then we just have to specify it for the environment. UV also shows us how to use a virtual environment and how to access the virtual environments. In terms of package management, UV is also a great tool for managing packages. And I can't tell you how speedy fast things are. So we can install packages using uv pip install, and the example here is shown for the Flask web framework. We can also install Rough, and so on. We can also install packages that are part of a requirements.txt file. The same can be said about the pyproject.toml. So if you have a pyproject.toml file that you want to install dependencies from, you can do that as well. So let's jump into the demo. The first thing we need to do is install UV. And for that, we're going to go to the official documentation on Astral. There's two types of installation for different operating systems. There's for Mac and Linux, and there's for Windows. For me, I'm running Windows, so I'm going to be using the PowerShell commands. We're going to go back to the terminal. We're going to paste in the command, and we're going to run it. There you go. As fast as that. After our installation is done, we're going to run UV version to make sure that we have the latest version. Then we're going to run UV self update just to make sure that there's no current updates. To create a new project with UV, all we need to do is type in UV init. And what UV will do, UV will create 5 documents after we run UV init. It's going to create a .ignore file for git version control, a .python version, which contains the Python version which we'll be using, a main.py file, a pyproject.toml file, which is where all of our dependencies and dev dependencies are stored, and a readme.md file. In case you want to push this into a GitHub or GitLab, after we create a project, we're going to go ahead and create a virtual environment to make sure that all of the dependencies that we create for this specific project are actually within a virtual environment so that it becomes easier for us to deploy them anywhere else. If we look at the pyproject.toml file, we're going to find that currently we have no dependencies installed. We can also notice the Python version which we'll be working with, as well as the version of the project or the application that we will be developing. To enter our virtual environment, then we need to type in .venv /scripts /activate. Once we do that, we're going to try to install a dependency. For example, I picked Flask. And then we're going to try to install a dev dependency, which in this case, I've chosen rough as the Python linter. As you saw, it was very easy for me to create a project from scratch with UV and to get up and running essentially in no time. If I were to use the other pip-tools like before, it would have taken me at least 5 minutes to do that. With UV, it takes less than a minute. And where UV's powerful features come into play is for really, really huge projects. That's where it's going to excel. Because once your project or application starts to grow, then your dependencies start to take more and more time to install. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe so that you receive the latest videos and tutorials from my channel.